Christ King, King Charles, seemingly has now severed ways with one of Her Majesty's most loyal servants and, more importantly, close friend. But what is the true story? As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. Thank you as ever for your lovely comments about the late and brilliant Len Goodman. We all loved him, didn't we, on Strictly Come Dancing? I do think some of the magic was lost, in fact, when he departed. I know that he was finding it quite hard, because he was back and forth with Strictly and, of course, Dancing with the Stars. But as he pointed out, he never expected to have such a career at such a point in his life and, was enjoying it, more importantly. It's important to keep busy, as he found out, is it not? Back as ever, though, to your breaking royal story of the day. Headlines over here, in fact, because Angela Kelly, who was once seen as one of the most devoted assistants, servants, whichever you want to call them, for our late and beautiful monarch, Her Majesty the Queen, has now departed her grace and favour place out at Windsor Castle. Apparently this was going to be assured for life, Now, if you don't understand what grace and favour is about, and I'm not being, sarky when I say that, the bottom line is, many years ago, when royal servants, got a job with the monarchy, they were, if they'd had a long service, were granted somewhere to live for the remainder of their days. And that included, heating, lighting, food, and a small pension. A nice little thing. In fact, many people are still living in Kensington Palace, although it's dwindling from the old system. This really started over 100 years ago. And it was something that the King Charles, wasn't particularly keen on. Not because of being unkind, let me point that out. It's not about that, it's about the bottom line, isn't it? Everybody's always saying to the king, you must, make cuts, we can't afford this. And then, of course, he tries his best to do something, and then, of course, the flack comes forward. But what's the true story about Angela Kelly? Well, what's interesting here is, rather tentatively, she announced this departure from Windsor on social media, that is, Instagram account, basically saying new adventures, new horizons, that sort of stuff. And she didn't want any negativity. A nice, graceful way, I believe, to exit a royal life. As she pointed out, it's been very difficult for her simply because her best friend passed away, Queen Elizabeth. Many people's best friend. She felt like she was a best friend to so many of us, really, when you think about it. But the bottom line for Angela is, once you become associated with one particular person in the monarchy, it's very difficult to reassign the role. This happened numerous times, backstairs Billy Talon was associated with the late and wonderful Queen Mother, and sadly when she passed away, he then had to move. That wasn't too gracious of a move, but there you go. But what is the background? Well, what is the background? Well, the bottom line is simply this, it's cost cutting. The king did discuss previously with our late queen about his plans for the future and how it simply couldn't go on. She, of course, wanted it to continue during her lifetime. So really, the bottom line is whatever was agreed between the king whatever was agreed between the Queen and Angela really didn't carry through to the King and Angela. Now, let me just point this out. According to a very good source, everything was, done through a professional level. Angela knew about the date that she had to remove herself from Windsor Castle, and more importantly, allegedly was more than happy to. It's now, of course, what happens next. Now, according to a very good source, royals are not too perturbed by this because they know so many of them have written books, tell all things, and they simply pass with time. There are certain individuals, say former press officers, who've never been given any roll of honour or any, medal or anything like that, recognition for their work, and that's the way that they then have to make money, by becoming pundits on television or indeed radio. But moving forward, if there's one person that really does have an explosive story, it certainly is Angela Kelly. And for her, the future looks very bright. As for the king, most people totally understand his reasons for doing this, particularly in this cost of living crisis. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.